Hi, I'm Mika Blaine. Our series on the ghostly Wilis, the undead maidens, and their queen Myrta from the ballet Giselle continues. The Pacific Northwest Ballet blog says, the story of Giselle Act 2. The curtain opens in a dark and gloomy forest on the banks of a pond. Giselle's tombstone can be seen at the left. The bluish gleam of the moon gives a cold and misty appearance to the scene. Several gamekeepers arrive, hoping to set up an observation post, but Lillian warns them away. This is the place where the Wilis gather at night, attacking any men who stray into their territory, drowning them or forcing them to dance themselves to their death. Distant chimes strike midnight, the hour when the Wilis appear, and the men flee in terror as will-o'-the-wisps flash threateningly around them. Myrta, the queen of the Wilis, arrives on the scene, mysteriously radiant and piercing the shadows of the night. She summons the other Wilis to join her in a fantastic ball. The Wilis, including Moina and Zulma, present themselves to their sovereign, and soon all of the Wilis are waltzing with abandon, gratifying their love for dancing which they were unable to fulfill in life. I'm going to make a comment here. That last point doesn't make much sense to me. Surely they did dance back when they were normal girls, before their misfortunes that turned them into Wilis. Back to the article. Before long, at a sign from the queen, the dance comes to an end, and Myrta announces the arrival of a new Wili. Giselle appears, rising from her grave, wrapped in a shroud. When Myrta touches her with her rosemary branch, or myrtle, the shroud falls off and Giselle is transformed into a Wili. She dances with fervor until a sound is heard in the distance. The Wilis disperse and hide themselves. Some youths are returning from a festival in a neighboring village. The Wilis seek to detain them and try to force them to dance. However, an old man throws himself in their midst, warns them of the danger. They barely escape with the Wilis in hot pursuit. The grief-stricken Albrecht appears with his faithful squire, Wilfred. Though Wilfred begs his master not to linger near the fatal tomb, Albrecht sends him away. Soon thereafter, Albrecht, in his state of sorrow, believes he sees the ghost of Giselle. He tries to embrace her, but he cannot. She looks at him lovingly and throws him some roses. Giselle disappears back into her tomb. Albrecht is about to depart the scene when he sees Lillian. Hiding behind a tree, Albrecht watches as the poor hapless gamekeeper, frightened nearly to death and begging for pity from the Wilis, is forced to dance himself to exhaustion. The cruel Wilis throw him into the pond and then begin dancing amongst themselves.
I'm gonna whoop your arse for this.
And when Jessica's done, it's my turn.
Jessica and Ocean, that's enough. Now calm down and let Mika finish.
Wow, I didn't know Jessica could get this angry. Step back, everyone.
I know you're upset, Jessica, and I understand why and how you feel. But we need to keep things civilized, so no more hair-pulling.
I'm surprised I could manage it since she is a Wili. I wasn't sure I'd even be able to grab anything on her.
You sure did, and you have a vicious grip. But I know I deserve it.
Yeah, you do! Don't you start too, Iris. Mika, please carry on.
Then, to Albrecht's horror, Myrta spots him in his hiding place. A fresh victim. Desperately he tries to escape, for he knows what cruel fate awaits him. But Giselle reappears miraculously, takes him by the hand, and leads him to her tombstone, a marble cross, which holds a power even stronger than that of the Wilis. Just as Myrta is about to touch him with her scepter, it breaks in her hands. Myrta is furious at her loss of power.
Ah ha 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 ha! Serve you right, Myrta. Iris, please.
As a last resort, and seeking revenge on the Wili who robbed her of her prey, Myrta extends her hand toward Giselle and casts a spell on her. Giselle begins a slow, graceful dance, as though transported by an involuntary delirium. Albrecht is unable to resist the Wili Giselle, and he leaves the cross, the only thing that could protect him, and begins dancing ardently with her.
No wonder this cross versus whatever horror is so cliché. It's been around even longer than campy horror movies. How can a hunk of marble protect anyone? Excuse me, Mika, carry on.
Hold on, Giselle, you look like you want to say something?
Yes. I was just going to say that dancing with him slowly would protect him from the other Wilis. And hopefully Myrta couldn't start determining the speed of the dancing. I would have slow danced him to keep him from getting exhausted too.
Giselle has no choice but to keep dancing, for she is under Myrta's spell.
You really shouldn't have done that, Myrta, because you'll find out up close and personal what a world of hurt is.
Jessica!
I know. What I did was rotten. Please, I'll do anything to take it back.
Yeah, trying to get Giselle herself to cause the death of the one she was so attached to. Well, there is no way you can make up for that.
I don't think so either, since Giselle wasn't danced to death by Wilis. It was her heart giving out that did it. Natural causes. Let's continue. Albrecht becomes exhausted. Just as it seems Albrecht will dance himself to death, the first rays of the sun appear. It is morning. The chimes strike 4. Wait, 4 in the morning during autumn, and it's already getting light out. Oh well. Albrecht's life is saved. Because the Wilis lose their power in daylight, they must withdraw. Giselle too must return to her grave. Albrecht kneels by her and gives her a kiss, as if to restore her to life, but Giselle seems to say that she must obey her fate and leave him forever. Suddenly loud fanfares are heard. Wilfred, the faithful squire, arrives on the scene with the prince and Bathilda, whose efforts he hopes will be more effective than his own in persuading Albrecht to leave this place of sadness. Giselle points Albrecht toward Bathilda, as if to tell him it is her last wish that he marry the young noblewoman. Albrecht is heartbroken, but the Wilis' command to him seems sacred. With sorrow, Albrecht gathers up the flowers on her grave and lovingly presses them to his lips and to his heart. As he falls into the arms of those who surround him, he reaches out his hand to Bathilda. Another source says, "Are they a dream?" Of course, a possible interpretation of the Wilis is that they are a figment of Albrecht's tortured thoughts. Anna Kisselgoff writes, "Whether he actually sees her ghost or imagines it in Act 2 is the kind of question 19th century romantic ballets, such as this one, have always left unanswered." What do you think? What's your interpretation?
Thank you, Mika. We still have some more comments to get through concerning Myrta, but in the meantime, what will be required of her may very well depend on whether or not she and the other Wilis were figments of Albert's imagination in a dream, who somehow slipped out of that dimension to be discovered by ours, or if they were affecting the others in that setting. Myrta, if you started out only as a dream, that would mean you didn't really dance Hilarion to death, and you and your subjects could possibly be pardoned. But if not, then you will be expected to reverse what was done.
How I hope I was just a dream, and that I've been dreaming this entire time too.
I suppose you all could have been a dream. But how would Berta have known about you, Wilis, before Albrecht had the dream?
Good question, Giselle. The answer is that the Wilis were that place's version of a scary campfire tale. They didn't have to originate in Albrecht's mind, but he sure could have had a frightening dream about them and everyone else because of the tragic situation of the girl's death.
That is encouraging, Pippi. But did Queen Lillian not say earlier that there was one confirmed case of the Wilis killing someone, perhaps this Hilarion?
Yes, there is that. Try saying that was a dream when a case was confirmed, Myrta.
Confirmed in the place where it's said to have happened, or just confirmed in Albert's mind. Things can get muddled when dimensions and the realms of fictional characters collide, and the people in Ocean's and Cindy's world have varying accounts of the same story. But we'll sort this out after going through some YouTube comments on various ballet videos. Please stay tuned.